Hi, this is Hoppi VR episode number 6. In this episode I'm going to be working on the FFmpeg library and then fixing a whole lot of bugs I ran into in the previous episode. In the previous video I ran into a whole lot of issues that stopped me from doing the demo properly. This was one of the main issues, is the pedal didn't work. Now I did do some fixes on the pedal previously and I'm not too sure what's happening. So that's one of the things I want to look at. I also didn't do the FFmpeg library, and that will increase the performance a lot. That wasn't really a bug, but I want to do that. The head wasn't connected properly, the glue didn't glue properly, and I think the 3D parts weren't made properly. I want to fix those up. I want to fix some minor bugs I had, like the HTC Vive loses connection every now and again. That's a problem with my actual HTC Vive, and then it sends out 0 values. Now when that happens I just want to ignore those values. Then fix the default initialize bug that I was having. I sort of half fixed that up, but I want to fix that up properly. I don't know if it's going to be possible. Clean up the startup procedure. My VR starts automatically and I want an option to be able to start and stop it when I want to, so I can then run it on computers without the VR. Depending how much time has passed, I might either do a video at that point, or I will go on to the arms then. I'm first going to start with the pedals. I previously fixed a wire issue I was having at the back there. I had to add a secondary wire because there was a loose connection. Once I did that, everything was working fine, so I'm not too sure what the problem is. It might also be a problem in the software, since I've done quite a few changes. I've got Hoppi connected and the pedal connected. The data is getting through to the Hoppi section on the server, but the motor is not changing. So now I need to check, is the data going to Hoppi over the network, and is Hoppi doing something with it? I found the bug and I fixed it, so the motor controllers are working again. And obviously I'm pressing the pedals here. Next I started 3D printing the new parts and changing the design so it fits better together. But I almost got to the end of the printing cycle, but then I had a problem where the printer got stuck and doesn't want to get any further. So I'm just going to have to work with what I've got and then fix the 3D printer later on. The next problem I worked on was the defaulting of the head. I tried to play around with the initialization of this on the drivers, and I messed around with a whole lot of registers trying to get it to sleep or to load the defaults before it initializes, stuff like that, and I just couldn't get it working. So I'm just going to go with what I've got. In the previous video I was using something called Motion JPEG, which is one of the settings of my webcam, and this just streams a whole lot of JPEG images over the network. So then I looked at the FFmpeg library, which provides a H.264. I started by changing the video mode of the webcam to something called YUYV. Then I found out later on that the FFmpeg doesn't work off the specific video mode that the USB camera works off, so I had to make a conversion there. Anyway, once I got that working, then I started writing the encode procedure, and then I wrote the decode. It took me quite a while to figure that out. So if I go to the camera and I say start camera, I could just ignore the debug data. I know how to get rid of it. This is showing the frames per second over time. It shows up to a maximum of 10, and then this is showing the bytes going over the network per second. So it's data per second and frames per second. And there's the gap. Yeah. So it's working off something called libx264, which is shown over there. but there is a hardware version, and that might increase the speed. There's a few other things I can change. There might be bugs, and that's why it's not going at 30 frames a second. I tried to do a demo at this point, but I ran into two major issues. One with the pedals still being way too sensitive and I could hardly drive. And I was having all sorts of SPI problems with the head not moving. I was a bit stuck with the SPI problem, so what I decided to do was just start fixing the motor controller. So this is the second update I've done. I forgot how this encoder works and I didn't have any documentation, so I then went and figured out how the encoder works and wrote some documentation, so next time I know I can just look it up again. And I've done an update and I'm going to see what it does. Yeah, so that's definitely backwards. I think that might have crashed So I'm going for a very different approach now. So the right pedal I'm going to be going forward and backwards, and then I'm going to have like a joystick to go side to side. But right now I'm just going to show forward and backward. That's better. So now I just need the turning. So I've got this old joystick which I got working on my code. I now want to use it to control Hoppi. This is just going to be a temporary solution. What I would like to do is get the pedal, modify the pedal so there's one pedal for power and like a steering pedal for turning. But I can't do that now. I just need to get it driving for now. I've currently got the motor controller at very sensitive. I might need, and that's why it was jerking when it was stopping in the previous test. So what I might do is just later on slow that down, but for now it should still jerk when it stops. I'm having this problem where I'm getting the joystick thing. So I switch everything on, I start the camera, and then suddenly it just goes very slowly. But then I run it for a while and then it turns out I'm hardly touching the joystick when I'm turning it, and it's turning extremely fast. So this is probably why I'm having so much problems controlling the. So what I've done is I've made this driving less sensitive. So let's go try that out. So I'm going to do a full test now. I'm going to be sitting upstairs and hopefully I've figured out the head now. So, but I'll be speaking through the speakers like usual. Okay, this is the old SPI mode. The camera is still working. I'm just going to check that the motor controller is working. Just by moving forward slightly. Yeah, so the motor controller is working fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disconnect everything and retry again. I'm busy moving now. Down, right, left. The head's moving, but my overlay is not starting, so I can't see anything through the VR. So if I set the head center there, can drive like that, okay? And then and the head just fell off. So for the head coming off, all I'm going to do for now is just put some tape around like that. I don't want the cable involved in the tape, so I'm just going to put some tape there. So this time I've got two cameras set up here because I'm going to be driving that way, and I'm sitting at the top. You won't be able to see me, but I've got the overlay working now. Okay, you should be able to hear me. The overlay is working. I think I've got everything working. The joystick, just be careful with this joystick. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to attempt to drive out of here. Okay, I can't see the speed, so I just need to be a bit careful. Okay, there we go. There's the different cameras. So the other camera should be down there somewhere. Straight. And that's slow speed. So what I want to also do is I want to put a I've just got a So there's a lot of work still to do on this. I've just fixed 2 bugs, but I'm going to fix a few more bugs. And then I've got some major issues. The major issues being the orange lights hooking to the STM32, which is a server issue that I'm having. And then the other issue is the server controller needs to be communicating faster. And then a few bugs, and then I can start on the arms. That's going to be a bit of a mission to figure out. This is where I drove the second time. So I went down here, I got stuck here a little bit, and then I drove down here, then the camera was set up over here, and I drove basically out here, and then back here, and that's where I saw Mocha, and then the camera. In the next episode I've got loads more stuff to fix. I've gone through most of the issues, and then hopefully if I got enough time I can work on the arms. I know I said that in the previous episode, but these are major issues I need to get working, especially getting the STM to speak via USB to the Orange Pi. That will make life much easier. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and thanks for watching, and goodbye.